Welcome back everyone to another episode. Today I'm super excited because we're going to talk about different events and people that impacted the civil rights movement. So let's jump right into it. Remember in our last segment we talked about Plessy versus Ferguson and the Jim Crow laws? Well, remember, let's recall, the Jim Crow laws were set and put in place to separate or segregate African Americans, or then blacks, and white people. This was not fair. This does violate the 14th Amendment. However, we hadn't gotten to that place in history to recognize the correlation. So that brings us to what we're talking about today. Let's start with Brown versus the Board of Education. Linda Brown was a young girl who actually walked a mile to get to her school. Simple enough, right? No. Around the corner from her house was actually another school, but it was for whites only. Now, her dad, of course, wanted to fight that. But it wasn't just her dad, it was a group of African American parents that realized this wasn't fair. So that means that we need to bring this up to the Board of Education. During this Supreme Court case, lawyers like Thurgood Marshall argued that the Plessy versus Ferguson decision was unconstitutional. Separate was not equal. See, the problem was that students from the African American background were not given the same academic opportunities. So that means white students were given more privileges, more resources, better learning opportunities than those of the black students. Absolutely not fair. In this 1954 ruling, they decided separate was not equal, and it violated the 14th Amendment, which is great news. So that meant that schools had to desegregate. However, it wasn't until time went on that all schools actually followed what the law has stated. This Supreme Court ruling really pushed us into our civil rights movement. In the next section, we're going to talk about Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, the Montgomery bus boycott, and a whole bunch of other awesome things about our history that got us to this place. Please stay tuned and remember, it's always important to teach on purpose.